Hey, this is Matt. Welcome back to the channel, guys, where I want to talk about why undoing a bad hair transplant surgery can be pretty costly and three main reasons for that. If you are enjoying these regular hair loss, hair transplant related updates coming on this channel, make sure you smash that like button right now. Thank you very much for that. And before we start with the video, this video has been brought to you by GoFiber, which are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out. See if you like them. Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Good to see you once again. And if you are new, you should smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well, because on this channel, I'm teaching you how to get your hair back, how to catch your hair loss early so you can enjoy a full head of hair for many years instead of being the bald guy for life, and how to get your hairline to the next level, how to get it back with a hair transplant. And it's not as easy as many guys think. And for that reason, many guys go to my website, mattdominance.com, where they can educate themselves for free how to do all these steps right before they get a hair transplant. And they also watch my most important video before choosing a hair transplant clinic. You can watch it on my website for free, so make sure you do that. First of all, before I talk about how much it can cost and why it is costly, there are two ways pretty much how to undo a bad hair restoration. First, it's the non-surgical way. It's a laser removal and scalp micropigmentation. And now, laser removal can be used, for example, for a poorly done hairline design, or if the angles were not correct, if the hairline looks pluggy, if the doctor used the old plug techniques, and you can pretty much remove it with a laser. Unfortunately, you cannot reuse these grafts, okay? They cannot be reused because they are going to be destroyed pretty much. So that's the laser removal. Number two, scalp micropigmentation. Scalp micropigmentation can be used on overharvested donor area, on a scarred donor area, with a large FUT scar. It can be camouflaged with scalp micropigmentation, and it pretty much gives an illusion of that there is no scar, but in reality there is a scar. You're not getting rid of that scar physically. Now, let's talk about the surgical way how to undo a bad hair transplant, and it will be pretty much either transplanting new follicles into the scarred areas, maybe the overharvested areas with FUE, where the doctor can take even body hair follicles and implant them back into the donor area, into the patchy spots. The same can be done with the FUT scar, that the doctor will extract new grafts via FUE or body grafts and implant them into the linear scar. The second very common way how to undo a bad hair transplant surgically, and it's pretty frequent nowadays, is to pretty much extract poorly placed follicles from the temples, from the recipient areas, from the hairline, if the design has been done incorrectly, if there are many pluggy follicles in the hairline, and that was my case, which I had corrected. You can watch that video here. So this is the surgical way how to get rid of these follicles, which fortunately you can reuse. So these follicles can be then implanted either back into the donor area or into other areas on your mid-scalp or crown where you can have some thinning. So they can be reused, and that's the advantage of this thing. And that's why many guys want to have their hair transplants repaired or corrected surgically, because they can reuse these follicles. Obviously, it's not going to be a big loss. If it's just 50 follicles that need to be removed, you can consider a laser, but if it's more, you want to probably have them reused. And now let me share with you the three reasons why this surgical undoing of a bad hair transplant is so costly nowadays. What does costly actually mean? What do I mean by that? Well, costly means, for example, something like paying €4,000 flat fee for removing only 150 grafts which had been poorly placed on the hairline and temples and re-implanting them into the donor area, and then additionally paying about €6 per graft for additional implantation of about 1,000 follicles in a natural way back onto the hairline maybe 1 or 2 months later. That's costly, and that's a story of one of my clients who I consulted during my one-on-one calls. Here is another guy who contacted me, who was quoted about 7 to 10,000 British pounds for a minor repair correction. He didn't specify it much, but we kept talking, and I found out that it was just a minor extraction of pluggy grafts from the hairline, reusing them, reimplanting them into the donor, and then additionally placing a couple hundreds of singles into the hairline. And he was quoted between 7 to 10,000 British pounds. And there are cases like that which I'm seeing over and over and over again. So that's what I mean by costly, okay? All right, guys, so here's the factor number one, which drives the cost of repair surgeries very, very high. And it's pretty much the experience of the surgeon and also high involvement of the surgeon in the repairs. There are not many doctors who can do repairs even. Not even talking about doing them correctly, because if you are a doctor who is doing repairs correctly, you probably need to be at least 5 to 10 years in the field. You cannot be just 1, 2, 3 years in the field, because you don't get exposed enough to repair cases that way, okay? So these doctors who have been working 5 to 10 or even more years as a specialist in hair restoration, they will charge a high price for their skill, because it's valuable. And on top of that, if they're also going to be highly involved in the repair surgery, that they will do the extraction, they will do the implantation, they will do the incisions, which normally they do. At least extraction and incisions are being done by surgeons. If repair is being done, then don't wonder that the price is so high. Because most of the times what happens, and what I'm seeing in the hair restoration industry, is that once the doctor gets good, he teaches assistants, technicians, or other newer junior doctors his skill, and he kind of goes out of the equation and focuses more on business and management, and he's not that involved physically doing the surgeries. So if you choose a repair doctor who is experienced with 10 plus years experience, high involvement, doing one surgery a day, and he's about to do a repair on you, and he's going to be very involved too, expect him to charge a very, very high price for that, okay? So these doctors are very scarce, and they are rare, the doctors who can do repairs successfully. You need to understand that you're not paying them for their time. Obviously, extracting 150 grafts doesn't take long, probably half an hour, probably a little bit more if it's very complicated, but you're not paying them for the time, you're paying them for the days, months and years they have been sharpening their skills in this field, in this industry, okay? So don't wonder why the prices they're going to be charging you are going to be so outrageous. So that's the number one cost driving factor. The cost driving factor number two here is the flat fee for removal of the grafts, which is almost always going to be charged. That means if you go to a surgeon and you need to have grafts removed from the hairline and temples, and you want to have them re-implanted, have them reused in your donor or on the mid-scalp or crown, then the doctor will probably charge you a flat fee for the whole day, or maybe for the half of the day. And if you need many grafts extracted or removed, then he will charge you for the whole day. Like, it's a flat fee. It's a fee that he would have otherwise earned with another patient, with a regular maybe 2,000 graft case or 2,500 graft case. So he also wants to keep his revenue more or less constant. He doesn't want to, earn like 50 or 70% less with you repair patient just because you need a repair. He wants to also keep his business running, so he cannot charge you very little for that removal. That's why there are these flat fees. And almost always when guys come to me, they wonder why they have been quoted this huge flat fee of 4,000 euro or even more sometimes in some countries for just removal of 50, 100 or 100 grafts, a very small number of grafts. Because also he needs to prepare for the surgery, he needs to plan it. Sometimes these consultations can be even longer and more extensive than with a guy who is getting his first hair transplant done. These repair cases are very delicate, and sometimes extensive planning or more extensive planning is necessary. The doctor needs to, if your donor has been heavily over-harvested, the planning needs to be very precise. Sometimes he needs to use additional a microscope or trichoscope to evaluate your donor, whether it's possible, whether it's not. If he invests his time into your repair surgery on that day, it's very unlikely that he can accept another patient on that day, because pretty much you are gonna like kill his day already, because he's gonna invest at least the half of his day into that surgery, unless the doctor is not able to accept two repair patients on the same day, one patient in the morning, another one in the afternoon. He's gonna probably charge you more money, like as much money almost as he would have earned with another patient who would just need a normal surgery of, let's say, 2,000 grafts or so. So that's the flat fee. Flat fees are almost always charged with the surgery, and if they're not being charged directly, they're gonna be charged in another way, but expect a higher total sum of money for that repair as a whole, you know. And this makes some guys consider hair removal with a laser, because it's less expensive. It just costs maybe a couple $100, but the disadvantage is that you lose all of these grafts, okay? You are destroying them with the laser, plus it's not just one session. You need sometimes 3 to even 4 treatments with the laser for a reduction of 90% of these poorly placed grafts. And why is that happening? Simply because your hair grows in cycles, and even at any given time you see your hair growing out, it's not 100% of that hair growing out. There are some follicles which are dormant, which are now in a telogen phase. They're about to start producing hair and going into the anagen phase. And these are the follicles which will be left unnoticed by the laser removal artist, and sometimes even by the hair transplant doctor who is correcting the grafts. And that's why 2-3 months later, some hairs can still sprout, and you will wonder why the laser guy didn't laser them out, why the doctor didn't remove all of them. It's because some of the hairs are sleeping, and the doctor doesn't see underneath your skin. So that's why this process can also take maybe 2 extracting sessions, 2 graft removal sessions, or multiple laser removal sessions. That's why it's also like time consuming. So that's why the doctors like to charge that higher flat fee, just in case. And the third reason why the hair transplant corrections are expensive is that there are going to be additional costs, travel expenses, like expenses for the hotel. And if you travel to the doctor for a repair only 2 times, it can be pretty expensive. And you always travel at least 2 times, because first is the graft removal session, where he removes the poorly placed follicles. And then the second one is the correction surgery, where he actually implants the hair in the proper angles, in a proper direction, and he chooses the proper types of follicles, like single grafts for the hairline and temples and so on. So these are the 2 sessions that are usually required. It's a multiple step approach, and the same with the laser, obviously. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're somebody who is considering a hair transplant, or even more importantly, if you're somebody who wants to get a hair transplant as soon as possible, you want to save yourself days and weeks of researching which clinic to go to. You want to save yourself money, which you could have potentially, spent on a bad clinic, save yourself money, spend on repair. Then you should definitely get on a one-on-one call with me, as many of my clients, and I'm gonna get back to you via email within 24 hours and advise you one-on-one directly in a video call on Zoom what should be the best steps you should be doing right now if your goal is to get a surgery ASAP, or if you are just considering it or planning it. I'm going to share with you whether you are a suitable candidate and what will be the ideal steps to do right now to get the best result with your hair in the future. Don't forget to like this video if you haven't done it, subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you so much, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you in another video. Take care.